What is going on, everyone? This is Mining. I know it's been a couple months since I posted my last video, but this is a video that I've really been wanting to make for a while, and I'm running out of time to make it since I'm going to be moving out of this apartment and into a new house I purchased. So I'm really excited about that. That's also part of the reason why I haven't been posting videos, but this video is about what it's like to mine cryptocurrency in a relatively small apartment. So just to give you an idea of how big my apartment is and what I'm running. I live in a 600 square foot apartment. There are 2 upstairs bedrooms. This is one of the upstairs bedrooms. It's about 10 feet by 12 feet. And I have 2 rigs in here. Now I own 3 rigs, but I'll talk about the rigs that I have here. This is a, sorry about this. When you see my camera going in and out, it's so hot in here that the camera kind of heats up. And you'll even see that my cards are turned off. But even just the ambient temperature of them, it still gets pretty hot in here. My camera takes a little bit of time to focus, but I have 7 1060 Zotac Mini 6 gigabyte single fans here. And over here I have 8 1080 Ti EVGA SC1s, and these are SC2s. I also have another 3 1080 Ti's downstairs. And what I want to do in this video is talk about the good and the bad of mining in apartments, mainly the bad, because I want you to know what you're getting yourself into if maybe you're in a similar situation that I was and wanted to get into cryptocurrency, especially if cryptocurrency picks back up, because right now it's been really bad, but if things start to pick up, people might be interested in getting into it and wondering whether they can actually do it in a small apartment. So it's June when I'm filming this. During the winter, there aren't that much problems. It's actually a blessing, and I can talk about that. But let's talk about the worst part of mining in a small apartment, and that is the heat. The heat from these cards gets the room up to about 115 degrees Fahrenheit or 45 Celsius, and it's just impossible to live and do anything in the same room that these rigs are in. I used to have that rig in my in the other bedroom, but I moved it out because having this rig, even though it doesn't put that much heat, still during the summer or during June, it was impossible to sleep with this thing in the same room. So I moved them both to the same room. What I've done is I've set up a ventilation system. It's not necessarily a good ventilation system, but it actually works. And it keeps my bedroom where I sleep nice and cool, and in here it's basically captures all the air and forces outside. So over here I have a window fan. What this window fan is doing is pushing air out, not in, and that's key. The most important thing about maintaining this apartment is having proper ventilation. So it's not about pushing air over or cool air in necessarily, it's about ventilation. So this is venting air out. In the other bedroom, I have another fan, but it's pushing air in. And if you actually walk up and touch the door, you can feel the air just like billowing out, the cool air from outside. The good thing is that in the bedroom while I'm sleeping or during the day, the temperature is the same as it is outside. But in here, like I said, it can get up to about 115 degrees Fahrenheit or 45 degrees Celsius. So ventilation is key. Without that, then, if you're unable to keep at least one of your rooms cool to live in, there's no point in doing this. The other key is keeping your cards relatively cool. So I have an industrial strength fan set up here. It's blowing air over these 1080 Ti's. And if I did not have that fan here, once the room gets above like 90 degrees Fahrenheit, the GPU fans actually can't keep up, and that's a problem. So I have my settings. You can see I have a 68% power limit, but the temperature is set at 70 degrees Celsius. And if I didn't have the fan blowing over this, it gets up to about 72 degrees Celsius. So with the fan, it gets it to about 66 degrees Celsius, which is great. The same for my 1060s over here. I have another fan that's just blowing air over those to keep those cool. And that's what you need to do during the summer. The good thing is that during the winter, I never paid a heating bill. So these were able to heat the entire apartment, no problem. And so that's something to consider. But during the summer, it's almost unbearable. And so if you're thinking about doing this, make sure that you can actually properly vent the cards, and you have a way to do that. If you're living in a studio apartment where you can't set up like different pressure zones, I would not advise doing that. The other thing is electricity. Not just the cost of electricity, because that's a consideration, but also how you power this stuff, especially in a small apartment. And because if you try and run all this stuff off the same circuit, it's going to trip. So you'll see over here, I have a heavy duty 12 gauge indoor wire that I have set up on another circuit. You can see it going out of there. But that's just to make sure that these rigs just don't blow a circuit every time I turn them on. Also, the cost of electricity, if you're in an apartment where you get free electricity, it's wonderful. But these, for me at least, with these cards, I find it's about $200 to $220 a month that I'm paying extra. You can go to whattomine.com and put in your variables and things like that. But that's what I pay extra in electricity for running all these things. Even with the slump, thankfully, that more than pays for itself, but that's also another consideration. The other thing is noise. With all these fans going, it gets about 70 decibels in this room, which is the equivalent of like a conversation occurring 3 feet away. And I'm able to deal with it because in my bedroom and get to sleep. You can definitely hear the fans going. The other thing that means is that when you have company over, it's just almost impossible, or it's just not worth it. Go out with your friends or go to other people's places, but trying to have company over with all this stuff going, it just makes it not enjoyable. So keep that in mind if you're in a small apartment and you want to have all these GPU miners. They take up space, they make it unbearably hot, and also the sound, and it also takes up time. Not as much as it used to, because the updates for Windows and getting all these cards set up have been a lot better, but every now and then, like a card will, something will stop working. You have to work on that. Also, making sure the cards are cleaned. Do that every couple months. It all takes up time. So these are all things you have to consider when you're, if you want to get into this and you live in a small apartment. Having said that, there's two good sides. There's two upsides, at least. During the winter, this is great. It keeps the apartment nice and warm. You don't pay anything in heat. And the other good thing is that, at least for me, it's something that I'm able to build and appreciate. I like every morning waking up, going to NiceHash and seeing, my balance. And the way that I mine is I mine through NiceHash. I get paid in Bitcoin, and I've been able to keep track of all my Bitcoin ever since I started. So I'm going to do a separate video on how much I make. But if you've watched this far, I'll just basically let you know that over the past year, well, I first got my cards in September, so it hasn't been my 1080 Ti's in September. And set up, in August. So it hasn't been quite a year, but I made about 1.6 Bitcoin with these cards, and not being a year. So we'll see if that works out or not, but just take all this stuff into consideration if you're thinking about setting up a mining rigs in a small apartment. Anyway, I really appreciate you guys listening for so long. I'm sorry this video has been a long time coming, but I'm happy to put it out, and hopefully I'll be able to make more videos in the future. Also, just so you know, that my brother might be posting to this channel as well. He does a lot of trading and everything like that, so it'll be interesting to get his perspective, and he might be making some videos for the channel. But once I get moved and settled in and I can show you guys a new house, I should be posting more. Anyway, thanks so much for watching and listening. As always, just thank you to my subscribers. Take it easy. Bye.